The Bulletin, Volume 79, Number 4, Autumn 2024. Contents of this issue of the Bulletin are divided into the following main section headings. 1. Bulletin Contents. 2. Intro. 3. President's Page by Paul Mimms. 4. Legislative Update by Donald D. Overton, Jr. 5. Executive Director's Message by Donald D. Overton, Jr. 6. Basking in the Veterans Day Spirit. 7. Adaptive Sports Challenges. Have Fun. Then Embrace Rewards by Teresa Galgano. 8. Scholarship Details Announced. 9. Around BVA. 10. Auxiliaries View by Debbie Frick. 11. Veterans Service Program. Update by Dwayne Driscoll. 12. A Successful Year in Review by Meredith Buono da Grossa. 13. Brief Notes. 14. In Remembrance. 15. Final Thought. Welcome to the audio version of the Autumn 2024 BVA Bulletin, Volume 79, Number 4. Paul Mimms of Kansas City, Missouri, is the National President of the Blinded Veterans Association. Wade Davis of LaPorte, Texas, is the organization's National Vice President. The National Secretary is Tracy Farrow of Biloxi, Mississippi, and Joseph Bogart of Meridian, Idaho, is the National Treasurer. Serving as district directors are the following. John O'Connell of Toms River, New Jersey, represents District 1. Annie Dixon of North Little Rock, Arkansas, represents District 2. Douglas Ingram of Tallahassee, Florida, represents District 3. And Randy Cantrell of Spokane, Washington, represents the veterans of District 4. The immediate past national president is Joseph D. McNeil, Sr. of Columbus, Georgia. Additional appointed officers are National Sergeant-at-Arms Brian O'Connell of Greenville, South Carolina, National Ombudsman Tenora Lynn Shannon of St. Clair Shores, Michigan, and National Judge Advocate Stephen Butler of Temple, Texas. The National Chaplain position is currently vacant. President's Page by Paul Mimms. I have recently completed my first full year as National President of the Blinded Veterans Association. During this first year, I have worked on achieving several goals that I had set for myself and for the organization. With the help of our National Board of Directors, I feel that several of those goals have come to fruition. In charting a course for myself and the board during this first year, there were two statements of purpose that guided me, and them. The first was the embodiment of the phrase that became the slogan of Team BVA. One vision, one team, one fight. The second involved my own personal observations of what we needed to do to make BVA more attractive and able to meet the needs of all members, both those who are members now and those who will join us in the future. We have guided the BVA regional groups to a stronger position as freestanding groups within their various communities. Many of these groups are also corporations. Part of that guidance has been the establishment of standards for accountability and certification that allow them to meet the standards of other certifying agencies, such as the Internal Revenue Service and the respective Secretaries of State in the jurisdictions in which they operate. One such effort has been to focus on ensuring that regional groups have bylaws that conform with the national bylaws so that the association can operate with consistency throughout. Increasing the accountability of regional groups has also fostered relationships in local communities that allow the groups to be viewed more as professional businesses. Although establishment of improved communication has been a focus throughout this transition process during the last year, there have also been some stumbling blocks from which we have learned valuable lessons. As we begin the second year of my presidency, we look forward to the results of some of the other changes that we have made during the past year. One change that is extremely important, I believe, is the engagement of a third-party voting system in the administering of our elections. This system will provide for the ability of every member of the organization, whether a member of a regional group or a member at large, to cast their individual vote on all issues that come before the assembled convention. Hopefully, this empowerment of every individual member becomes a reason for the organization's increased attractiveness to our members and prospective members. It has already been announced that we will be sharing the convention hotel again in July of the coming year with the American Council of the Blind, ACB. The venue will be in Dallas, Texas. We are already developing plans for that convention and will do everything possible to make it even better than the event we had last year with ACB in Jacksonville. For one thing, We will be returning to a week-long convention running from Sunday to Friday. During that time, we expect to have off-site events specifically planned and arranged by BVA for family enjoyment and membership participation. In fact, some of the business that was conducted on-site in the past will be conducted virtually in advance of the convention, allowing more time for socialization, interpersonal engagement, and participation in the planned activities. Also of significance is that this will probably be the last year in which we will enjoy a hotel rate close to $99 per night. This convention hotel rate was negotiated before the COVID-19 pandemic. We are all fairly convinced that hotel rates going forward will undoubtedly be even higher. The cost of conducting the convention itself will also be higher, and at least some of that cost will be reflected in the registration fee. At press time for the bulletin, we are but 4 months away from our milestone 80th anniversary on March 28, 2025. We will celebrate this milestone in grand style just as dozens of our predecessors have celebrated other milestones. With 80 years behind us, there are many milestones in our past. But this anniversary is somewhat more unique in demonstrating BVA's longevity, perseverance, and valuable service to our fellow veterans with sight loss. At the 80th National Convention, we hope to set the stage for another 80 years of service to blind and low-vision veterans and their families. I conclude with 2 comments. The first is an expression of thanks to the BVA membership for electing me as their national president. I have greatly enjoyed serving in this office. The second is, given the timing of this bulletin, a sincere wish for all of our members, supporters, and other constituents a most happy holiday season as we approach the new year. Legislative Update by Donald D. Overton, Jr. The following article is intended to demystify the purpose of our association. We continue to experience internal strife in understanding what we do and why we do it. Contrary to the beliefs of a small fraction of our membership, unfortunately, often the most vocal, BVA is not a social welfare organization. We were not founded upon a belief in funding activities to benefit a handful of members, but rather to unite in advocating and serving the needs of our collective stakeholder community. I encourage everyone to visit our website and review the rich history of our association, its accomplishments, and its ongoing efforts. What follows is a plain language explanation of what a Veterans Service Organization, VSO, is and how we operate. VSOs offer a range of services for veterans, service members, dependents, caregivers, and survivors. Some VSOs may provide programming for veterans in their communities, such as job fairs. Others may organize events to raise money for a subset of veterans, such as housing for homeless veterans. Some VSOs train individuals to meet federal regulatory requirements to become accredited representatives, such as BVA personnel, who can represent claimants before VA's regional offices and its Board of Veterans Appeals. VSOs may fall into one or more of the following categories: congressionally chartered organizations, such as BVA; organizations recognized by VA, such as BVA; organizations recognized by VA to prepare, present, and prosecute claims, such as BVA; national organizations, such as BVA; nonprofit organizations, such as BVA; regional and local organizations, such as BVA regional groups. There is no uniformly applied statutory definition of the term VSO, but the term may be defined in a specific way within certain statutes. For example, the Veterans Appeals Improvement and Modernization Act of 2017, Public Law 115/55, stated, "The term Veterans Service Organization refers to any organization recognized by the Secretary for the Representation of Veterans under Section 5902 of Title 38 United States Code." According to Title 36 of the United States Code, congressionally chartered organizations, such as BVA, are those that have as their purpose the promotion of patriotic, charitable, historical, educational, or similar activities. Under the authority granted in Section 5902 of Title 38, United States Code, VA may recognize organizations for the purpose of assisting claimants for VA benefits in the preparation, presentation, and prosecution of their claims. VA has implemented this authority in Section 14.628 of Title 38, Code of Federal Regulations, which prescribes the application requirements for national, state, and regional or local organizations. VSOs are not federal agencies. VSOs may be nonprofit organizations, and their employees are not federal employees. The VA Secretary may make space available in departmental facilities for individuals who work for national VSOs that have been recognized by the Secretary, such as BVA. According to 38 U.S.C. Section 5902(2), the Secretary may, in the discretion of the Secretary, furnish, if available, space and office facilities for the use of paid full-time representatives of national organizations so recognized. Thus, while employees of some VSOs may be physically working at VA federal facilities, they are not federal workers. VSO employees are positioned in these facilities to conveniently assist veterans, their spouses, and their beneficiaries. Congressionally chartered VSOs are organizations that have been granted charters by Congress through the enactment of public laws. Each congressionally chartered VSO is listed in 36 U.S.C. Subtitle 2 Patriotic and National Organizations. A VSO is congressionally chartered if Congress has passed a law that chartered the organization. Provisions related to congressional charters are codified in 36 U.S.C. Subtitle 2. Congress may amend existing charters, which often include conditions for membership, mission, or other characteristics of the particular VSO. Among the congressionally chartered VSOs are the Blinded Veterans Association, which was chartered in 1958, the Disabled American Veterans, which was chartered in 1932, and the American Legion, which was chartered in 1919. A recognized VSO, such as BVA, is one that has been recognized by VA, which means that the organization has satisfied multiple requirements outlined in 38 CFR Section 14.628. Recognized VSOs may be national organizations, state organizations, regional or local organizations, or tribal organizations. Recognized VSOs are not individually named in the U.S. Code. Authority to determine that a VSO is recognized is granted to the VA Secretary in 38 U.S.C. Section 5902, Recognition of Representatives of Organizations. The specific regulations that apply to recognized VSOs appear in 38 CFR, Section 14.628, Recognition of Organizations. The requirements to become a recognized VSO include, but are not limited to, having a primary purpose to serve veterans, such as BVA, demonstrating commitment to veterans through a sizable organizational membership or performance of veteran services, such as BVA, committing a significant portion of the organization's assets to veteran services, such as BVA, submitting evidence that the organization will represent claimants or that it will inform claimants on how to find accredited representation, such as BVA. VSOs provide evidence to the VA Secretary that they meet these criteria through documentation, e.g., membership data, bylaws, description of services provided, and copies of their financial statements. In cases where the organization provides VA claims services, evidence must be provided that the group has the capability to represent claimants before VA regional offices and VA's Board of Veterans Appeals. BVA provides access to accredited representatives who assist claimants with their affairs before VA. However, not all recognized VSOs provide accredited representatives to represent claimants. The recognized VSOs that do not represent claimants must illustrate how they will inform veterans of the limited services they can provide, as well as how they will advise veterans on how to find accredited representation. Recognized VSOs submit applications of individuals seeking to become accredited representatives to VA's Office of General Counsel for accreditation. These applications include evidence that individuals have been trained and have met specific qualifications. Recognized VSOs that provide access to accredited representatives often also provide the required continuing education credits that representatives must periodically complete. Accredited representatives who work for VSOs may not charge their clients fees. When I joined BVA over 5 years ago, our association was floundering to fulfill its core purpose as a congressionally chartered and VA-recognized VSO. We have since rededicated our efforts toward establishing an industry-leading accredited claims team. Our National Service Officers, NSOs, work as access specialists, providing inspiration, encouragement, and practical assistance with VA claims and appeals. They also educate stakeholders about benefits and services, including services for the blind, while empowering blinded veterans to find and follow a road to independence. In an effort to further expand our services, we have established the BVA Ambassador Program. The Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, Blind Rehabilitation Service, BRS, has identified more than 120,000 blinded veterans and 1.1 million veterans with low vision. A large percentage of these veterans either do not know about BVA or they incorrectly assume that they are not eligible for assistance because their vision loss is not service-connected. BVA ambassadors are the key liaisons between blind and low-vision veterans and BVA's Veteran Service Program. They serve in key roles in the dissemination of valuable benefits information and crucial advocacy tips to help make the most of VA benefits for blinded veterans, including access to visual impairment services teams, blind rehabilitation outpatient specialists, vision impairment services and outpatient rehabilitation programs, vision impairment centers to optimize remaining sight programs, and residential blind rehabilitation centers BRCs. BVA ambassadors are volunteers and serve about 15 hours per week at a VA BRC or blind rehabilitation outpatient program and accumulate creditable volunteer hours for BVA under the VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement, previously the VA Volunteer Service Program. Although BVA ambassadors are not required to be blinded veterans, the latter have certain advantages as they function in their role. The ideal BVA ambassador candidates are blinded veterans who have successfully completed BRC training and can participate in person, either at a BRC, preferred, or at a VA blind outpatient program at their local VA medical center. BVA ambassadors must be able to set the example for other blinded veterans by functioning independently, demonstrating and applying the skills they have acquired through their training. So, the next time you experience a seemingly disgruntled member of our association complaining about what we won't do to appease their personal agenda, join me in reminding them how much we actually do, every day, to improve the lives of our community, as we continually strive to live our motto of blinded veterans helping blinded veterans. Executive Director's Message by Donald D. Overton, Jr. Season's greetings from BVA National Headquarters. Our entire staff extends best wishes for a pleasant and happy holiday season for you and yours. May it be filled with enjoyment, peace, and hope for prosperity in 2025. Although we live in challenging times, this is the best season of the year to reflect on our blessings and that which means the most to us. In many cases, these blessings are centered on and around our religious convictions. Whatever those religious beliefs and holiday traditions entail, my hope is that they will play a significant role in your activities and celebrations this year. Peace on earth and goodwill to others is a work in progress. But I hope that each of us can feel something of an inner peace as 2024 ends, resolving to do everything possible to raise our own quality of life and, at the same time, contribute to the happiness of our families, caregivers, and others around us. The spirit associated with giving and service is something that lives year-round within our Blinded Veterans Association in every part of the country and among our constituents, whether they be members, volunteers, corporate partners, or other financial supporters. I have seen it in action at our national conventions, during my visits to our VA BRCs, and when hearing of a blind or low-vision veteran who has been successful in filing a claim with the assistance of our national service officers. After serving more than 5 years as National Executive Director, I have made the decision to retire in the first quarter of 2025, once a successor is selected and our annual audit completed. When I was asked to take the helm at BVA, my wife Peggy and I talked about the job being a 3 to 5 year commitment. It is now time to take the next step in my career journey, exploring new challenges and opportunities. Serving alongside each of you has been one of my greatest honors and privileges, and I continue to be inspired by each of you. One of the Board of Directors' most important responsibilities is to make certain that appropriate leadership is in place. Early on, I promised I would give them ample notice and plenty of time to select our next National Executive Director. I will stay on to ensure a smooth transition. I became a BVA member after being blinded during combat operations in Iraq during Operation Desert Storm, and have remained committed to our mission for the last 33 years. I am grateful for the trust you place in BVA and the confidence in me that you have demonstrated. This association will maintain the high standard of service our members deserve, and we will continue working hard every day to earn and renew your trust. Basking in the Veterans Day spirit, camaraderie on display at the New York City Parade. BVA members from Districts 1 and 2, many accompanied by family members, rose early on November 11th to proudly march down Fifth Avenue in the annual Veterans Day Parade in New York City. The BVA parade entry showcased their desire and dedication to honor the service and resilience of fellow veterans past and present. The effort of the group also represented a commitment to continue empowering other blind and low-vision veterans nationwide by staying true to the BVA motto, "Blinded Veterans Helping Blinded Veterans." The parade contingent, organized by District 1 Director John O'Connell, featured participants from the Mid-Atlantic area of New Jersey and New York, as well as the Midwest, Illinois. Their presence and interaction underscored the strength of camaraderie and community among blinded veterans, regardless of the challenges they face. Marching in this parade was a way for us to celebrate the sacrifices of all veterans and to show that blindness is not a barrier to patriotism, pride, or service, John said. Donned in their BVA attire and carrying a BVA banner, the group marched alongside other VSOs, receiving continuous applause and support from the thousands of spectators lining Fifth Avenue. In plain view of spectators, BVA members demonstrated the organization's mission of advocacy, assistance, and friendship among its members. New York City's Veterans Day Parade is the nation's largest, featuring more than 20,000 marchers, 150 vehicles, and 25 floats, according to event organizers. It recognizes veterans from all branches and eras. In addition to VSOs, marchers include active-duty military and high school bands. For BVA, the event this year was a chance to honor not only past military service in general, but to also raise awareness of the challenges and contributions of veterans who have confronted sight loss. BVA's participation was a reminder of the resilience and determination of our nation's heroes, John added. We marched to inspire and show what is possible. As the parade concluded, John said, BVA members expressed gratitude for the support they had received and looked forward to continuing their advocacy work in the coming year. He asserted that their participation in the parade was a powerful message to the thousands of onlookers of the enduring spirit of veterans who have served their country. BVA represented at the nation's capital events. BVA National President Paul Mimms and National Program Coordinator Vernon Humphrey ventured to the nation's capital on November 10th to represent blind and low-vision veterans throughout the country in a series of events on Veterans Day that occurred at both the White House and Arlington National Cemetery, ANC. Among such highlights was BVA's participation in the flag processional and a VSO wreath laying at the cemetery. With the BVA and U.S. flags firmly in waist-high harnesses, Mid-Atlantic Regional Group members Lawrence Harrison and Milagros Millie de Jesus marched in the ceremonial parade of colors with the assistance of their sighted guides, respectively Bessie Powell and Milagros' husband, Eduardo de Jesus. Lawrence later assisted with the wreath presentation. Accompanied by representatives of approximately 40 other organizations, Paul, Vern, and Lawrence presented the BVA wreath at the cemetery's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The symbolic gesture paid tribute to all veterans and served as the needed exclamation point to the end of a warm, sun-drenched autumn day of memorable activities. The laying of the organizational wreath followed the traditional presidential wreath laying that occurred precisely at 11 a.m., witnessed by Paul and Vern, and performed on this occasion by President Joseph R. Biden, who then joined VA Secretary Dennis McDonough and Fleet Reserve Association, FRA, National President John Hancock in addressing veterans and a capacity crowd of approximately 5,000 in the adjacent Memorial Amphitheater. Hancock's address occurred by virtue of FRA as the 2024 host organization. Paul Mimms took his place on the same stage with the three speakers and the national officers of the organizations designated as original members of the Veterans Day National Committee. The 71st National Veterans Day observance also featured music by the United States Marine Band and the United States Navy Sea Chanters Chorus, and welcome remarks by Karen Durham Aguilera, Executive Director of Army National Military Cemeteries and Arlington National Cemetery. Several hours before their Arlington arrival, at 6 a.m. to be exact, Paul and Vern had reported to Patton Hall at Joint Base Meyer-Henderson Hall for their transportation to a traditional Veterans Day White House breakfast hosted by President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for VSO leaders and other dignitaries. Following the presidential wreath laying, Paul was seated and recognized on the amphitheater platform with the speakers and national officers of the organizations designated as original members of the Veterans Day National Committee. Accompanied by BVA National Director of Development Meredith Buono de Grossa and National Communications Coordinator Stuart Nelson, Paul and Vern returned to Patton Hall on the Army base for an FRA-hosted lunch reception immediately following the VSO wreath-laying. Mid-Atlantic RG contributes to Fredericksburg ceremony. The city of Fredericksburg, Virginia, honored veterans with a walking procession from the city's Memorial Park to the Our Fallen Heroes War Memorial, where this year's annual ceremony was convened. On hand for the events with a wreath to present was BVA staff and Mid-Atlantic Regional Group member Michonne Harrison, who has also served for more than 2 years as the Secretary of the Fredericksburg Area Veterans Council. The Voluntary Council seeks to restore and, in fact, enhance a new memorial to include the fallen from eras after World War I. Speaking at the Veterans Day ceremony was Sergeant Stephen Hotz, retired, who began his military career in 1988 and was one of the first to arrive for Operation Desert Shield Desert Storm. Ironically, from a BVA perspective, Steve's military career abruptly and unexpectedly ended when he experienced a physical reaction to an anthrax inoculation that caused blindness in one eye. He medically retired in 2012. Today, he serves veterans with PTSD, TBI, and general stress-related issues through his nonprofit organization, Black Horse Forge. GHRG spreads cheer in downtown Houston. In front of City Hall, the city of Houston celebrated area veterans on the morning of November 11th as part of its annual Houston Salutes American Heroes Veterans Day celebration. BVA's Greater Houston Regional Group, GHRG, reported a feeling of elation to be a part of the event, which included entering a float, pictured here with participants, in a parade that brought thousands of spectators lining Houston's downtown streets. Vice Admiral and former legal counsel to the Joint Chiefs of Staff James W. Crawford, III, retired, appointed only 5 months ago as the 14th president of Texas Southern University, was honored as this year's parade grand marshal. Crawford also gave the keynote address recognizing the occasion. "This event was such a great success that we will make it an annual activity of the GHRG," said Group President Armstead Chambers. "We had 19 members ride on the float, and we were emotionally moved by the size of the crowd and the enthusiastic support from many people saying, 'Thank you for your service. Just an amazing time for our members.'" Texas has the largest veteran population in the nation, with more than 300,000 veterans in residence. Adaptive Sports Challenges. Have Fun, Then Embrace Rewards by Teresa Galgano. When I first heard about adaptive mountain biking, I wasn't sure if it was something I could tackle. However, I decided to take the plunge, and what a surprise. Not only did I do it, but I also accomplished more than I ever imagined. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be mountain biking as a blind person, but here I was, making it happen. So, what exactly is adaptive mountain biking? It's all about making the experience accessible, no matter what your type of disability is. The equipment and guides are tailored to your needs, ensuring a safe yet thrilling ride. For me, that meant riding a recumbent tricycle, a more stable setup. My bike was equipped with the electric assist function, which provided extra power depending on the terrain. Although I pedaled the entire time, the assist kicked in to help me conquer the more challenging parts. To guide me through the course, I had 2 incredible guides, one leading the way and another following close behind, both describing the terrain and obstacles. My peripheral vision helped me a bit, but their guidance was crucial. Oh, and I certainly cannot leave out the fact that I was able to pull my guide dog, Donald, along in a trailer behind me. It felt a little backward at first, having Donald in the rear rather than where he is usually positioned with me. But we were both able to adapt quickly. The trailer was like a moving kennel, Donald safely and comfortably inside. He was also able to guide me during our stops for lunch and breaks. This adventure took place in breathtaking Steamboat Springs, Colorado, at the STARS Adaptive Recreation Ranch. The folks at STARS went way above and beyond their duties, providing not only the adaptive equipment, but also lodging and meals. Veterans participating had a variety of disabilities, from leg amputations to brain and nerve injuries. STARS staff members on the trail were phenomenal. They ensured my safety every step of the way. I tipped over only once, thanks to a particularly rocky patch, Of course, I was wearing a helmet, so no harm was done. The experience was tough, exhilarating, and so much fun, all at the same time. The event spanned 3 unforgettable days. Day 1 was more of a warm-up with a flat ride on a paved trail along the picturesque Yampa River in town. Day 2 upped the ante a bit with a challenging 10-mile trail around a reservoir. With the arrival of Day 3 came the ultimate test, a thrilling ride on Buffalo Pass at 10,000 feet along a narrow, rocky trail. Talk about an adventure. The best part about adaptive sports is that participants proceed at their own pace. Each afternoon, we had the option to either continue pushing forward or head back to the ranch. I often chose to head back, but many of the others kept going, riding all the way back to the ranch. It was incredible to see their determination. Looking back, I am so glad that I took on the challenge. Initially, I didn't believe I could do it. Now that I successfully participated, I feel a deep sense of pride not only for the accomplishment itself, but for overcoming the mental barriers that at first were in the way. After losing my sight, I had almost given up hope of ever doing something like mountain biking again. But being a veteran, I have always been up for a challenge. And let me honestly tell you, this ride would have been tough, even if I could still see perfectly. So, here's my advice to my fellow BVA members. Get out there, find something that scares you a little, and challenge yourself. You'll be amazed at what you can do with a little energy and a spirit of determination. Scholarship details for 2025 to 2026 announced. Description: BVA's Kathern F. Gruber scholarships are available to spouses, children, and grandchildren of blind and low-vision veterans to assist them with their higher education tuition. The scholarships are awarded based on merit through an application process evaluated by a committee. The Gruber scholarships for veterans' dependents are for 1 year only, but recipients can reapply and receive the award up to 4 times. Quantity: $4,500 scholarships annually. Qualifications: spouses, children, and grandchildren of verified members of the Blinded Veterans Association. Accepted to an accredited institution of higher education or business, secretarial or vocational training school. Internal criteria: children and grandchildren of staff members who are BVA members are eligible. Applicants will be measured on a scale from 1 to 3, total of 15, based on 5 parameters. Academic GPA, community service/volunteer hours, extracurricular activities, reference letters, personal narrative. Vernon Humphrey, National Program Coordinator, Meredith Buono de Grossa, National Development Director, and National Vice President, Wade Davis, will constitute the selection committee. Deadlines: applications are due on April 30th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Midnight Eastern Time. Late applications will not be accepted. Internal selections must be made by June 1st, 2025. Recipients will be contacted by June 15th, 2025. Application and required documents for qualification. Application will be integrated into Salesforce. A complete application. Incomplete applications will not be accepted. It is the responsibility of the applicant, not BVA, to ensure a completed application. Transcripts: if applicant has attended an institution of higher education, or several of them, they must submit a transcript of record from each institution. If applicant has not attended an institution of higher education, they must submit a transcript of high school record. If applicant has been to college only 1 semester, they must submit their high school transcript in addition to college transcript. 3 letters of reference in the current calendar school year. 1 letter of academic reference related to academic achievements. This reference must be formalized using letterhead or business stationery from the affiliated organization. Letters of academic reference must be related to the school the applicant is attending or will be attending and must be no later than 6 months old. 2 letters of personal reference in which the authors must identify their relationship with applicant. All letters of reference must be typed and signed. Letters must be addressed to the Blinded Veterans Association. Letters of reference used for previous scholarship applications are not accepted. Letters of reference may not come from a family member. Merit of career goals/personal narrative must be typed. Previous applicants must submit a new statement with each application. Applicant must describe in no more than 300 words their post-education, lifetime, specific career goals, and aspirations. E. What they plan to do after completing their education, and outline their plans to pursue them. Additional evidence of achievement, optional. Applicants may submit other evidence of achievement in the academic and/or non-academic fields that they believe qualifies them for a scholarship award. Evidence must be corroborated by documentation, i.e., a copy of certificate documenting the award, a copy of a citation, etc. Around BVA, happy 110th birthday, Eugene J. Baltis. Eugene, Gene. J. Baltis, BVA member and World War II Navy veteran, turned 110 on October 29th. The distinguished gentleman is now the oldest living male on record residing in the United States and a member of the Blinded Veterans Association's Illinois Regional Group. Gene's family and friends, numbering more than 100, including his regional group president, Anthony Woodson, celebrated this amazing milestone with him at a party in his honor, a week early on October 22nd at the Drury Lane Theater in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. At the birthday party, Gene received a letter of congratulations from VA Secretary Dennis McDonough, presented to him by Edward Hines, Jr., via Hospital Director James Dooling. He also received a card and several mementos from BVA that included the recently created stuffed BVA ambassador and a special proclamation from John Bevcar, supervisor of River Forest Township, Illinois. We recognized his remarkable age as well as his service, dedication, and many sacrifices as a Navy Chief Petty Officer back in the day, said Anthony. The celebration was filled with joy, laughter, and heartfelt tributes by those who love him. Gene was born in River Forest, Illinois, on October 29, 1914. He enlisted in the Navy in November 1941 and served in the Pacific Theater during World War II. He and his wife, Zenaida, Zenny, who served as his nurse at Hines, still reside in River Forest. He became the oldest living man in the U.S. this past June. Gene continues to attribute his longevity and resilience to the clean living and self-care that includes never having smoked nor consumed alcohol. According to the CBRC Torch, the publication of the VA Central Blind Rehabilitation Center, Gene is well known among CBRC staff and has actively participated in BVA and VA blind rehabilitation service activities using the skills and adaptive aids he has acquired over the years. He frequently comments on the outstanding care he feels he has received from VA. New Jersey media recognized BVA leaders at ribbon cutting. Congratulations and kudos go to Director of District 1 John O'Connell and New Jersey Regional Group President Bill Graves for representing BVA at the November 18th ribbon-cutting ceremony at the VA Outpatient Clinic in Toms River, New Jersey. John was also a driving force behind the installation of sidewalks prior to the clinic's opening last month. The two were featured in a report of the online NJ Spotlight News. The new facility, which offers primary care and specialty health services, including laboratory services, mental health care, diabetes treatment, treatment of ears, sinuses, tonsil and thyroid, otolaryngology, nutrition services and women's health care, replaces a much smaller and less accessible location for blind and low-vision veterans previously located in the town of Brick. The newer clinic offers improved overall services and additional convenience. The ribbon cutting was also attended by Senator Cory Booker, DNJ, Senator-elect Andy Kim, DNJ, and longtime Congressman and veteran advocate Chris Smith, RNJ4. BVA Board appoints Arkansas veteran. Annie Dixon has been named the new interim director of District 2. Annie has become an active member of BVA in 2024, but has volunteered with the VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement, formerly VA Voluntary Services, since 2015. In that capacity, she assisted with individual and group activities to help blind and low-vision veterans regain their independence and quality of life, enabling their successful integration into family and community life. Annie is currently working with Team River Runner, an organization emphasizing adaptive paddle sports. This activity was established to allow wounded, blind, vision-impaired, low-vision, and otherwise disabled veterans the opportunity to embrace new physical challenges while invoking mind stimulation. Annie served in the U.S. Army, U.S. Army Reserve, and the Arkansas National Guard. She trained in the Signal Corps and transferred to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Fort Hood, Texas, and Fairbanks, Alaska. She retired after 25 years of service. She later worked in various leadership positions with the state of Arkansas, retiring from those posts after 10 years. Annie holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in Management of Technology from Athens State University in 1993. She earned a Master of Science in Industrial Technology from Alabama A&M University in 1995. She is currently working on postgraduate studies. Team BVA promotes interest groups. The Team BVA initiative serves as the association's premier outreach program for blind and low-vision veterans with varying interests and skill sets. The program includes peer-inspired recreation activities, integrated community support, and whole health rehabilitation. Several special interest groups have been established with an assigned facilitator and now function within the program. In addition, BVA hosts a series of virtual educational sessions and town halls aimed at empowering and educating all participants. BVA members are encouraged to access the new online calendar in order to attend Team BVA meetings, activities, or other sessions. Overton appears on Civic Warriors podcast. Dawn Overton was the guest on a recent podcast of Civic Warriors, a series produced by the 50-year-old Witham firm. The podcast series invites leaders in the nonprofit industry affecting change, civic warriors of the world, innovators, leaders on the front lines of adversity, and all-around good people doing good deeds. In the 54-minute episode 65, Don shares, first his personal journey and his insights into BVA's mission to support veterans with sight loss. Don and host Brad Caruso then discuss challenges faced by the blind and low vision, common misconceptions, and BVA's recent legislative advocacy accomplishments. The conversation also touches on career routes for the visually impaired and how to respectfully approach and assist a blind person in various settings. Listeners can download the interview or search Civic Warriors online to locate it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. High-energy activities. Highlight Tennessee RG, White Cane Day. Members of the Tennessee Regional Group from the Memphis area dedicated themselves to a few educational and physical fitness activities October 14-15, beginning with a downtown Memphis display table, see accompanying photo, and a 3-mile walk with their white canes. On the previous night, the group held a catered Dining in the Dark private event that provided information and entertained many of their family members and friends. We had a great time with all these events, and they were fun and enjoyable for everyone who came and participated, said Terry Richardson, president of the regional group. We hope to do similar things in the future because of how they went this time. Dining in the Dark on White Cane Eve was coordinated by BVA auxiliary member and friend of the group, Gwen Barr, also a veteran herself. According to Terry, Gwen has recently helped with several of the regional group's service projects and social activities. White Cane Awareness Day itself began with 8 members of the regional group assembling an information table outside WREG News Channel 3 in downtown Memphis. In addition to the free water needed, there were BVA brochures, pens, and other literature available to the public in a busy area of the city, especially as the lunch hours approached. With their canes, sighted guides, and lively background music, the group then conducted a round-trip walk on the renowned Big River Crossing, a pathway on the historic Harahan Bridge across the Mississippi River and the state line into Arkansas. The bridge allows, on a daily basis, hundreds of pedestrians and cyclists their own right-of-way with spectacular views of the Mississippi River and the downtown Memphis skyline. The event culminated with a group lunch at the historic Blues City Cafe on Beale Street back in Memphis, once all had returned to the city. Killian educates, expounds on the White Cane history and use. Jerry Killian, longtime BVA member and leader in the Greater Houston Regional Group, spent the evening of White Cane Safety Day sharing a history and extolling the virtues of the white cane to his American Legion Post 512 in Dayton, Texas. The day, this year, just happened to fall on the 3rd Tuesday of the month when his post regularly meets. In addition to several leadership positions Jerry has held with the GHRG, he is currently the first vice commander of the Legion Post. He details in his own words, sent to the Bulletin, a summary of what he shared. My presentation began with my wife, Joyce Killian, reading a short excerpt. Joyce mentioned that October 15th is White Cane Safety Day annually, and that the day honors the many achievements of Americans who are blind and visually impaired. She also covered the fact that White Cane Day recognizes the advancement of the concept of independence within the blind community. The white cane, she explained, has an extended, rich history, but the beginnings were humble. This mobility tool has blossomed into an international symbol for blindness and low vision. My presentation also pointed out the evolution of the long white cane from a shepherd's staff to a stick painted black, later to a stick painted white, and finally to the modern long cane made of fiberglass, plastic composites, and aluminum. I pointed out historical milestones as follows. 1921, James Biggs, a British photographer, painted his cane white for more visibility for motorists. 1930, Lions Club. President George Bonham came up with the idea of using a white cane with a red band to assist the blind with independent mobility. 1931. In France, Gilles d'Herbemont recognized the danger to blind people in traffic and launched a national white stick movement for blind people. She donated 5,000 white canes to blind civilians and blind French veterans from World War I. 1944, Richard Hoover, while assigned to the Center for Treatment of Blind Soldiers at Valley Forge Army Hospital, developed a successful cane technique replacing the traditional short wooden cane with a lightweight long cane cut to a prescription length, and using the technique of sweeping the cane from side to side, the tip touching the ground in front of the trailing foot. Hoover has been referred to as the father of the long white cane technique. Many of the soldiers at Valley Forge with Hoover became members of the Blinded Veterans Association a year or two later. 1964. The U.S. Congress approved a resolution authorizing the President of the United States to issue annually a proclamation designating October 15th as National White Cane Safety Day. President Lyndon B. Johnson was the first president to issue a proclamation. 2005. Regional groups of the Blinded Veterans Association throughout the United States began to more actively promote white cane awareness on or around October 15th each year, at locations such as schools, VA facilities, community centers, libraries, and shopping malls. Veterans have most often emphasized the overall effectiveness of VA blind rehabilitation training in the use of the white cane. My presentation continued with the description and demonstration of the different kinds of white canes. Long cane, this traditional white cane, also known as the Hoover cane, is designed primarily as a mobility tool. The length depends on the height of the user. Guide cane, this generally shorter cane, used to scan curbs and steps, has limited mobility functions. Identification cane. This cane is referred to as a symbol cane in British English. It is used mainly to alert others of the bearer's visual impairment. It has no use as a mobility tool. Support cane. The white support cane is designed primarily to offer physical stability to the visually impaired user. By virtue of its color, this cane can also work as a means of identification. This cane has very limited use as a mobility tool. This was my third presentation demonstrating the white cane and other devices that I use in my everyday life. When Joyce is not present to guide me, my legionnaires offer me an elbow or shoulder. I will be making another presentation on Blinded Veterans Day, March 28th, on how to interact with a blind person. I hope that other BVA members and regional groups are taking advantage of similar opportunities. Recognizing the role of the physician assistant. National Physician Assistant Week occurs every year in October. Treating patients in today's complex healthcare settings requires a complete team of professionals. Among these medical workers are physician assistants, PAs, broadly trained in a wide spectrum of conditions and tasks. Low vision member Michelle O'Connor of Fredericksburg, Virginia, joins BVA past national president Dr. Tom Zampieri as a professional in the field. The two do not know one another personally, however. Michelle currently works as a PA at Fort Belvoir Army installation near her home. The PA training that Tom and Michelle have both received undoubtedly focused on patient education, preventive care, and chronic care management. In convention assembled this past July 9th, the BVA membership approved Resolution 124, which relates to the PA profession and VA. The resolution urges the VA Secretary to recruit and hire the most qualified healthcare occupations, including PAs, to meet the challenges of healthcare access, and to include PAs in dual posting for vacancies across the Veterans Health Administration, VHA, to provide high-quality, industry-leading healthcare services for veterans, and expand the appropriate diversity of professional backgrounds in clinical areas of mental health, primary care, women's health care, emergency medicine, and geriatric care. The resolution proposes further that VHA consider an expansion of the PA Health Professions Scholarship Program, doubling all PA residencies along with a new strategic national veterans recruitment policy to support the increase in the number of veteran PAs, particularly in the realm of mental health and critical specialized care. Michelle's assessment of what it is like to work as a devoted PA with sight loss underscores the importance of the previously referenced BVA resolution. She sent the following to the Bulletin. As a PA with a vision impairment, I have faced numerous challenges in the workplace, but one of the hardest parts of my job is knowing that I can still provide quality care while constantly navigating the barrier around reasonable accommodations. While my passion for my patients remains unwavering, it is often misunderstood that individuals like me require support to ensure that we can do our jobs effectively. Many supervisors do not fully understand their role in facilitating these accommodations, which adds an extra layer of difficulty. When someone with visual impairment doesn't use a cane, guide dog, or obvious visual aid, it is easy to assume everything is normal. However, our world is far from that. The lack of understanding around these invisible challenges makes it even more important to advocate for what we need in order to succeed. While there have been challenges along the way, this experience has strengthened my dedication to the field and underscored the importance of resilience and adaptability in healthcare. I've learned to adapt and thrive in a demanding medical environment. My journey has been shaped by the use of visual aids, which allow me to continue providing quality care to my patients. It is a reminder that with the right tools and support, barriers will be overcome, and our ability to serve others will remain unaffected. BVA.org unveils new calendar. BVA National Headquarters has launched a new online calendar to streamline communications and enhance the member experience. Featured educational series components currently on the calendar are Vet Tech and Independent Life Skills, Ambassador Training, and the Board of Director-hosted Town Halls. In addition, BVA interest groups such as gardening, dog handlers, and book club virtual meetings are now available. All members are encouraged to access the calendar via bva.org, which provides joining information, other logistical details, and descriptions of the event. View and add to your calendars today at https://bva.org. Calendar. Sparkling performances at Golden Age Games. 2 photos accompany the subsection. Captions read as follows. Photo 1. Tennessee participants, blinded veterans, and VA staff celebrate medals representing their achievements at the 2024 Golden Age Games. Photo 2. Douglas Ingram won gold medals in cornhole and air rifle, and silver medals in bowling and basketball free throw. The text begins, joining in the spirit of competition, connection, and resilience. More than 140 blind and visually impaired veterans from across the country, including several BVA members, left an indelible mark on last summer's 38th VA Golden Age Games in Salt Lake City, Utah. "What a blast this year's games were for me," said Calvin Poole, Secretary-Treasurer of the Tennessee Regional Group. "One of the most important lessons learned from the games is how important it is for all of us to remain as active and fit as possible." Among the participants receiving medals, most of them multiple medals, were Calvin himself and fellow Regional Group veterans, Terry Richardson and Alexander Cade. Others excelling in several competitive events were at-large member from Rowlett, Texas, Sheldon McKinney, also facilitator of the Dog Handlers Interest Group, Michonne Harrison, Angel Ramirez, Matt Reed, and Harvey Guerry of the Mid-Atlantic Regional Group, President, and Director of District 3, Douglas Ingram of the Florida Regional Group, William Sanders and Tenora Shannon, President and Vice President, respectively, of the Michigan Regional Group, also competed and excelled in their age groups. Hosted for the first time ever by the VA Salt Lake City Healthcare System, August 24th to 29th, the premier senior adaptive sports and recreational competition program, brought together more than 1,000 veterans over the age 55 to participate in 19 competitive events in 8 age categories and 3 other classifications: ambulatory division, visually impaired division, and wheelchair division. Air rifle, basketball free throw, and golf were added to the games for the first time last year and introduced this year in the visually impaired division. The Golden Age Games embody VA's Fitness for Life motto. The event is designed to improve the quality of life for all older veterans, including those with a wide range of abilities and disabilities, through both sports competitions and training clinics. Calvin also emphasized the significance of the camaraderie that exists at the Games. He credits the preparation he and other members of the regional group made before arriving in Salt Lake City, in turn thanking the coaches that pushed the veterans along. He further thanked the administration at the Lieutenant Colonel Luke Weathers 5A Medical Center in Memphis that supported that preparation. "We received medals and ribbons as a direct result of the training we received," Calvin emphasized. Key stats from the Games: 40% of all participants attended the Games for the first time, 27% of the participants were women, and 2 athletes attended for the 21st year. The oldest veteran athlete was 94. Memphis, Tennessee, will host the 2025 Golden Age Games, a source of anticipation for Calvin and members of his regional group. Throughout the week, our Tennessee people were interviewed by local television reporters by virtue of next year's site in our own backyard, he said. The Memphis VA staff, coaches, and blind rehabilitation outpatient specialist, Lovell Pratcher, were highlighted and interviewed. KSL-TV, the NBC network affiliate in Salt Lake City, captured the essence of the Games in an August 27 live report from the Salt Palace Convention Center, where a majority of the indoor events were held. VISN 19 feature spotlights: Colorado. Blinded veteran. After 53 years of living with limited vision affecting one eye due to an automobile accident as a cadet at the Air Force Academy, BVA member John Mocco of Montrose, Colorado, confronted a new challenge last December when a series of surgeries intended to save his sight actually left him legally blind in both eyes. While both of his sight losses could have been permanently devastating, he never lost the vision of his life's purpose. An article by Veterans Integrated Services Network writer and editor Jesus Flores outlines how John quickly located a dedicated VA Visual Impairment Services Team coordinator, the Blinded Veterans Association, and several other life-changing resources, tools, and key persons. The article is available here. Keep abreast with the Visions of BVA. BVA's recently launched podcast, Visions of BVA, releases a new episode on the 1st and 15th days of each month. Dive deep into the association's inspiring stories, accounts of resilience, and the achievements of blind and low-vision veterans. Each episode features interviews, discussions on life-changing technology, and glimpses into the BVA community. Included in the series is each issue of the Bulletin. Visions of BVA can be located on all major podcast platforms. Subscribers are welcome and encouraged to leave their feedback and share their thoughts. Auxiliaries View by Debbie Frick. BVAA continues to grow in many aspects, among them membership numbers, 72, connections via Zoom, an increase in our knowledge of various resources, and refining our own personal missions within the organization. The BVAA bylaws were reviewed by BVA with a few suggestions of added verbiage. The BVAA board made the revisions. They then reviewed the new BVAA bylaws and called a special membership virtual meeting for November 22 to discuss and vote on these final bylaws. They were approved there by the meeting attendees. The Scholarship Committee has been revising the guidelines, instructions, and the actual application for the Renee Feldman scholarships. We are aligning the guidelines with BVA recommendations and hope to have it all in order by January. Our plan is to resume awarding 3 individual post-secondary scholarships for the 2025-26 academic year. To be eligible, recipients need to be a spouse or generational child, grandchild, great-grandchild of a past or current BVA member. The committee continues to fortify the documents and expects to have them available soon. Contact Debbie Frick at dsfrick71@gmail.com or 325 2344550 with any questions. Town hall meetings are scheduled for the first Tuesday of odd-numbered months, with many interesting topics providing various resources. Our September meeting included a very special program implemented by the Disabled American Veterans, DAV. We listened to Maria Hilbert, Senior Account Executive with T-Care, share her personal journey, as well as information about the DAV Caregiver Support Program. Statistics reveal that there are more than 43 million caregivers in the United States who provide unpaid care to an adult, with 5.5 million of those caring for veterans. Go to davcaregiver.org or call 800-421-5137. The process is as easy as registering for an account, completing a well-being screener, and scheduling an appointment with a specialist. If you call, leave your contact information and a brief message. Someone will soon return the call. Services are free and include online resources and risk screening to better understand the role as a caregiver, digital tools to support caregiving responsibilities, and personalized care plans and one-on-one support from a trained caregiver specialist with experience supporting veterans and their loved ones. The benefits include reduced caregiver stress, depression, and other negative health outcomes, improved relationships between veterans and their caregivers, and an increase in resilience and ability to navigate complex caregiving responsibilities, including navigating healthcare systems and financial planning. Look around on the DAV website and view the many inspiring videos, including the origin of T-Care and many personal caregiver stories. On November 5th, the town hall meeting topic was non-24 sleep-wake disorder, N24SWD. Our next town hall meeting will be January 7th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Central Time. These meetings are informative. They also provide great resources and connect us with one another in the Zoom meeting room. Thank you, valiant veterans, for your service and for your attention now. May we all have a brighter future as a result of your many sacrifices. Veteran Service Program Update by Claudia Baldwin. Special Monthly Compensation. Do you know of additional disability benefits beyond the 100% service connection level? Extra entitlements may increase depending on the veteran's VA disability compensation. The benefit known as Special Monthly Compensation, SMC, allows additional payments to a veteran for certain conditions. The entitlement, found at United States Code Section 1114 and in 38 Code of Federal Regulations Section 3.350, discusses each level in detail. The K Award, given to a veteran when there's an anatomical loss of one or both creative organs, or loss of one eye at light perception. As a veteran gets a higher level of SMC for blindness, the K Award drops since it is awarded when one eye is at the light perception level and the other eye has better vision. The award discontinues when the veteran's disability reaches light perception in both eyes and complete blindness. SMCS, awarded when a veteran has one disability solely rated at the 100% level and another separate disability rated at 60%. This entitlement labels a veteran as housebound for VA purposes. SMCL, awarded when vision is at the 5/200 or 5 degrees field of vision in both eyes. SMCM, awarded when vision is at the level of light perception in both eyes. Light perception is defined as counting fingers at 12 inches or less, or hand motion at 3 feet or less. SMCN, awarded when a veteran's vision has no light perception in both eyes. SMCO, awarded when a veteran has bilateral deafness rated at 60% or more disabling, and the hearing impairment in either one or both ears is service-connected. In combination with service-connected blindness with bilateral visual acuity, 20/200 or less, as well as service-connected total deafness in one ear, or bilateral deafness rated at 40% or more disabling, and the hearing impairment in either one or both ears is service-connected. In combination with service-connected blindness of both eyes, having only light perception or less. SMCR1, considered when a veteran is at the level of SMC N12 plus a K award, or at the SMCO or P level. For this SMC award, a veteran will need the additional aid and attendance form, VA Form 21-2680, for consideration for this higher level of SMC. The best way for veterans to check eligibility for these entitlements is to consult with BVA's VSP so that National Service Officers can accurately review their records and determine if they are eligible for the benefits. A Successful Year in Review by Meredith Buono de Grossa. The holiday season has always been my favorite time of year. Festive decorations, quality time with family, and holiday movies are staples during November and December. More importantly, the season brings reflections of the past year and resolutions for the upcoming one. For the past 3 years, I have had the privilege of working with dedicated colleagues who are committed to serving and empowering our blind and low-vision veterans. While this year brought a number of personal challenges, I had the opportunity to fulfill professional goals on my wish list. Here are some highlights from the past year. In March, I was invited to join our national president, Paul Mimms, and his guide dog, Shadow, to witness his passionate legislative testimony before a joint session of the House and Senate Committees on Veterans Affairs. In addition, I joined our Executive Committee and Government Relations team in Washington, D.C., to meet with several members and staff of the committees. These visits laid the groundwork for the association's efforts to generate action on behalf of our constituency. I was honored to be part of this advocacy that reinforces BVA's vision of bettering the lives of all who served our country and who are now living with sight loss. June brought a trip to Phoenix, courtesy of Waymo, where I joined 3 of our members, their guide dogs, and Waymo executives for a video shoot focusing on the accessibility and life-changing technology that Waymo autonomous vehicles provide to all people with disabilities. Tears rolled down our cheeks as we climbed into a vehicle that welcomed all of us. As I witnessed this level of independence and dignified travel experienced by our members, it tugged at my heart and ignited my passion for bringing awareness to the challenges that our blind and low-vision veterans face on a daily basis. July brought a new partnership with ACB connected to our 79th National Convention in sunny Jacksonville, Florida. A sold-out exhibit hall consisting of new technologies, an opportunity to provide sensitivity training to enthusiastic hotel staff, the feeling of camaraderie among those we serve, and many memorable connections with committed corporate partners illustrated the importance of this event. While public speaking is not my forte, I was given the honor of hosting our traditional gala, the Father Carroll Luncheon and Awards Ceremony, and the Bow Wow Lounge. Early fall brought completion of marketing strategic goals. The communications team executed a new social media and BVA happenings plan, a new podcast, Visions of BVA, and an updated accessible website that includes an efficient online calendar with interest group opportunities for our members. The website, as always, is a work in progress and will continue to evolve. Finally, the highly anticipated BVA store, facilitated by Will Enterprises, successfully launched to rave reviews, a large number of shoppers, and a long-awaited variety of branded merchandise. Crowd favorites include a new 2025 Ambassadog large print calendar, featuring our veterans and their guide dogs, stuffed Ambassadogs, newly designed t-shirts, ties, hats, and sweatsuits. For those seeking to find the perfect holiday gift, visit our store on bva.org and shop till you drop while supporting BVA. I look forward to what 2025 brings, and I'm already setting goals for the upcoming year. A sincere thank you to all that support the Blinded Veterans Association. Happy holidays to you and yours, and blessings for a healthy and fruitful new year. Do Your Favorite Things by Pascal Baute. Pascal's article comes accompanied by a thumbnail headshot image. There is no caption. He begins as follows by quoting the source of his article, which is one of his own books. At the end of the article is a graphic box of slightly less than half of a page, wishing bulletin readers happy holidays and a happy new year, and the Blinded Veterans Association logo at the bottom of the greeting. From a new book entitled 12 Habits for Remaining Sane in an Insane World. At age 95, with multiple health challenges that include blindness, I frequently feel overwhelmed with all of the things going on around me, from family concerns and financial worries to the unease I feel about current events in the world. I know that most of these feelings are not unique to someone my age, but there are 2 differences. First, I cope with not having the company of so many of my dear friends with whom I can discuss my concerns. Most of my friends of the same age have passed away. The second difference lies in the decreased physical and mental energy that is required to think about and deal with my feelings and concerns. So, I am challenged on a daily basis to sufficiently get myself together to feel like I've accomplished something by the end of the day, or to do one of my favorite things. Despite this rather pessimistic view, I still engage in regular activities that manifest remaining energy, and that even add to that energy. I typically swim 3 times each week and have found some motivation in adding water aerobics to my swim laps. These new exercises, which include walking in shallow water and jumping with no joint pain, are slowly resulting in less painful movement outside the pool. Plus, I nearly always end these swims with an endomorphic lift that can last me for hours. I do not always feel good about going swimming prior to venturing out, but I always feel good as I'm leaving the workout. As I have now been doing this for many years, I am sure it has added to my overall wellness. Therefore, I have become dedicated to this activity with the encouragement of my wife of 56 years, who has supported and encouraged an active lifestyle of camping, boating, swimming, water skiing, and snow skiing, the latter of which we adopted for her 50th birthday. Prior to that, she had never seen a ski slope in her life, but we both fell in love with skiing and could not wait for winter for the next 30 years. Fortunately, I have another favorite thing from my past life to which I've returned the past dozen years or so. Based on some 50 years of listening to others' problems and concerns in the role of psychologist, I've written more than 40 books and dozens of articles. Now, however, my purposes for writing have become different as I base my observations and conclusions on my own experiences as a blinded veteran and not as much on the experiences of others. I enjoy journaling about my life because it helps me cope with many of my own feelings. Journaling has also offered me an opportunity to share with my fellow veterans a few relevant principles relating to wellness and resilience that have been published in past issues of the Bulletin. Compiling my thoughts in writing is another wellspring for my energy. During this holiday season, my hope for each of my fellow blinded veterans is a lesser degree of worry and/or an opportunity to lessen that worry by engaging in one of their passions or favorite things, past, present, or perhaps even a new one. They may be surprised by the burst of energy suddenly available to them or the emergence of a previously unlikely positive outlook. Brief notes. Veterans and caregivers to see easier. Access to DoD installations. VA recently announced an improved access process for veterans and eligible caregivers for medical appointments, shopping, and designated morale, welfare, and recreation services. Eligibility will now be electronically verified during the access process. Reviews. Say VIA Healthcare. Outperforming non-VA services. Earlier this fall, VA revealed the results of 2 independent, nationwide reviews for patient satisfaction and quality of care. In both categories, VA hospitals outperformed non-VA hospitals in the area of inpatient services. A separate recent survey of more than 440,000 veterans showed veteran trust in VA outpatient care to be at 92%, an all-time record high. Learn more about the reviews, their specific findings, and related comments from VA Secretary Dennis McDonough. Review websites and inquire before paying for free services. Unfortunately, unsuspecting veterans and their families in need of forms or assistance with a claim sometimes pay for such services without understanding that they can often be free. Although the charges incurred may not be illegal scams, they can prey on unsuspecting people and cause them to pay unnecessarily. For example, when the historic PACT Act was first enacted, law firms began advertising their services for a fee to help veterans when BVA, through its Veteran Service Program, was available to provide the same professional expertise at no cost. Some websites also charge for VA forms that can be located rather easily at va.gov. Become a BVA visionary by giving monthly. Another graphic at the end of the short blurb contains the shortened version of the BVA logo with the following text, artistically designed. Monthly giving makes a big impact. Become a BVA visionary. The blurb reads, BVA visionaries are loyal and dedicated supporters who make recurring monthly donations to help the organization carry out its mission in support of blind and low-vision veterans. Choose an amount that works for you. Your generosity makes possible the committed and ongoing services that BVA provides to our veteran community. Help us achieve our goal of 200 BVA visionaries this year. Visit bva.org, click the donate button, choose an amount that works for you, and select the Make This a Monthly Donation box. In remembrance, the Blinded Veterans Association deeply regrets the passing of the following veterans: Alabama R.G. Luther Brown, Arkansas R.G. Jim Poole, Carolina R.G. Thomas Hill, Charles Sawyer, Charles Register R.G. John Endicott, Emerald Coast R.G. Darrell Goldsmith, Florida R.G. Howard Artezi, Carl Barth, Floyd Beach, Carl Bocek, Kenneth Carpenter, James Gilmore, Andrew Kunkel, Cornelius Moriarty, Francis Murray, William Rogers, Michael Sessa, John Soule, Arthur Stevens, Georgia R.G., Larry George, William Jackson, Greater Houston R.G., William St. Clair, Heartland R.G., Albert Abbas, Josephine Hernandez, Michael Thomas, Illinois R.G. Raymond Shackelford, Indiana R.G. Mildred Bruner, Lester Durbin, Louisiana Mississippi R.G. William Ledette, Mid-Atlantic R.G. Hilario Duncan, William Fraser, Horton Gafford, Richard Matisquiela, Albert Parole, Ted Patrick, Hyman Shapiro, Alfonso Valentino, Josiah Wilson, Alvin Young, New Jersey R.G. Jane Shupp, New Mexico R.G. Jesse Lewis, New York R.G. Alice Barst, John Bonsignor, Mary Caffo, Charles Severino, Robert Thomas, Ohio R.G. Paul Waldvogel, Dorothy Zorn, Pennsylvania R.G. William Albert, Kenneth Bass, Margaret McCullough, Calvin McCune, Junius Winans, Rocky Mountain R.G. Saul Gins, San Diego R.G. Lynn Campbell, Southern California R.G. William Reitmer, Carl Throne, Southern Nevada R.G. Roger Becker, Bruce Humphreys, Parley Jacobson, South Texas R.G. Alton Culver, James Gaffney, Utah R.G. Howard Alston, Washington R.G. Carl Duman, Douglas Fiesel, James Hendrick, John Krafchick, Howard Shaw, at-large BVA member, no regional group affiliation, Harry Adler, William Apple, Donald Aliff, Frank Berta, Roland Blasé, Artemio Caleda, Bert Dixon, Elaine Dotsith, Richard Edinger, Louise Miller, Edwin Nartovich. Final thought. In 1945, Kathern F. K. Gruber was appointed as the Director of War Blind Veteran Services for the American Foundation for the Blind, AFB, and, in 1949, as the Assistant Director for Professional Services of AFB, two areas of responsibility she held simultaneously for 14 years. In both areas of responsibility, Kay focused her attention on providing maximum independence for the blind and rebuilding the pride, dignity, and self-esteem of blinded veterans. That focus was evident in her BVA Bulletin columns for more than 30 years. It was also Kay Gruber who fostered the AFB-BVA relationship that helped the association through the financially trying early years of 1945-50. Without Kay Gruber, an 80th BVA anniversary may have been beyond the realm of possibility. Former BVA Field Service Director Bob Brown described Kay Gruber as quick-witted, outspoken, and tenacious. Her advocacy work earned her the nickname Hell on Wheels in dealing with VA bureaucrats. She also earned from BVA members the annual honorary title, Sweetheart of the BVA, at national conventions. Kay passed away in 1998 at the age of 92. And this concludes the Autumn 2024 BVA Bulletin.